While Peter was swinging through the city, his spider sense went off, so he went to investigate the reason behind it. Peter finds out that the city was under attack by mindless ones, and the Avengers were fighting them, so he shoots his web and joins them in the fight. After beating many monsters and saving a lot of people, Mr. Fantastic arrives with a device that can send the monsters back to their dimensions. Doctor Strange arrives too late to prevent the device's use, which allows Dormammu to cross over to Earth instead. Doctor Strange and Dormammu began fighting each other. Peter tries to jump in and help Doctor Strange, but he accidentally alters the dynamics of Doc's spell, which made them get lost in time and space. Strange tells Peter that they are now stuck, and they'll be moving unpredictably in space and time. He tries to cast a spell to make them return to their world, but Strange vanishes while casting it. Peter gets teleported back to the city, but it's destroyed. Dormammu won and the heroes are dead. MJ also gets killed in front of Peter's eyes. Then he gets teleported to a future where Peter sees an elderly Peter standing at May's grave. The elderly Peter wears the Last Stand suit. Then he gets surrounded by NYPD officers who ordered him to turn himself in. Now, for those who don't know the story of this Peter Parker, he's a Peter Parker that killed Craven to avenge the deaths of Caney and Maddie Franklin. After that, Peter became darker and deadlier. He ended up hurting his friends and his loved ones, and he was even expelled from the Avengers. He made a new anti-hero suit and killed Dr. Octopus, bypassing his own tentacle through his heart. That's why the police are after this Peter Parker. Back to the story. A detective tells Peter that he doesn't have to do this. He'll die if he try. He can turn himself in, and he can work a deal for Peter. Peter tells him he can't go back, it's too late. Peter says goodbye to him and shakes his hand and tells him to walk away and not to look back. Peter tells May that this is better for everyone. This is better for MJ and for his son Ben. Peter jumps at NYPD and begins fighting them, and he knocks many of them out, but he gets shot and killed in the end. Then our Peter gets teleported to the past where he got bit by the spider. At first, Peter decides to prevent himself from getting bit by the spider. Because he could have his life back, he can save Ben, he can save himself from all the things he suffered. But on the other hand, many people will die if he doesn't become Spider-Man and save them. Peter apologizes to his uncle. Then he gets bit by the spider. Then Peter starts hearing Strange's voice. Strange tells Peter to follow a spell he sent to him. Upon following it, he starts to relive many adventures in his life. At first, he fights Sandman in a high school. Then he fights Vulture, the Lizard, Electro, and Hulk. Then Peter relives the time he had to lift the whole wreckage to get May's serum in the final chapter. After that, he relives Gwen's death. Peter broke down crying. He tells Strange he can't do it. He can't relive all of this madness. His life is non-stop fighting and violence, and he always let people he loved down. Strange talks to Peter and convinces him to move on despite the pain and agony he is feeling. Peter relives many of his fights, tragic situations, and famous foes he caught, until after a long journey, he gets teleported to the moment where Mr. Fantastic was about to use the device. Peter quickly warns them about the device, and they should wait for Strange because he has the solution. Strange arrives to the battlefield and casts a spell that wipes out the monsters. Then he tells Peter that they have to speak. Peter tells him his story and what happened to him, and asks him about the fate of the Strange that was with him when they got lost. Strange replies saying he doesn't know, and then gives Peter a special gift for his birthday. Peter returns to his house to celebrate his birthday with MJ and May. After his party, he goes out and opens Strange's gift. Uncle Ben appears behind him. Peter gets surprised to see him. He tells Peter he was going back to the house, but there was a gunshot sound, and now he's here. Peter tells him he wants to tell him so many things, but first he wants to ask for his forgiveness. Ben tells him there's nothing he needs to be forgiven for, not by him. Peter replies saying that he wasn't there when he needed him the most. Ben replies saying that we all mess up. Sometimes it's even necessary for us to mess up, because it could change our lives to be better. Peter tells Ben that he has amazing abilities, and he can do amazing things now. Ben asks him about his happiness with his life, because we all suffer in our lives, we all get hurt. But at the end of the day, are you happy? Peter thinks about it for a little bit. Then he tells Ben that he's happy. Ben tells him that this is the only thing that matters, right? Then the two hug each other. Peter tells Ben that he missed him and he also loves him. Ben replies saying the same to Peter. Then he says goodbye to Peter, and he tells him to take care of May for him. Peter swears that he'll always do. Ben replies saying he knows. Then he vanishes from Peter's hands. Peter returns home and goes to sleep after a long day of fighting.